It's your favorite local magazine come to life on the radio. Area experts giving you tips and tricks on everything you need to know. It's Expert Insights. Now, here's your host, Deb Keating.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Expert Insight Show, where every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. we interview local experts around town, learning more about their business. Why do we do this? Because throughout the South Shore, and for that matter, you can also live stream this show at 959watd.com. So wherever you're listening, we are hoping that you will support local business here on the South Shore. And that means a lot of things to a lot of different people. But to me, supporting local business means understanding who is out there on the South Shore, who you can trust to be an advocate for you, or for that matter, who you might want to visit just to buy a cute boutique shirt. But today, when I say trust, this is probably the most important piece of trust, and that is with your security. And we all know in today's world how difficult it is and how scary it is to keep your things safe. I mean, I'm probably, going to have a notice from Siri about, do I want to use my, Apple Pay for something? And I'm constantly afraid, it doesn't really look like it's capturing my Face ID, and is that scary, and what have you. So super, super grateful to Allison Cutts today of Cyber Security Chic, who is here with us to talk all things security. Welcome, Allison.
Thank you, Deb, for having me today. I'm really excited to speak on this topic. And just for the listeners, I live in the South Shore as well, and excited to share as much information to help protect anyone who's out there listening and who's ever worried about potentially being scammed or hacked at any level. It doesn't matter what your age is, whether you're a teenager, middle-aged, or even someone who's a boomer enjoying the best parts of life right now. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And you'll hear me say every week, I'm super excited to have XYZ. So now I'll say super, super excited in this particular case. And that is because this is such a critically important topic for people to understand how to keep themselves safe. And as we talk throughout the show, I know you're going to give some examples of what happened to you and what the motivation was for you to start this business. And I'll share some stories. And I'm sure everybody out there listening has a story themselves, or someone that they know, or an elderly parent who are often targets. But start by telling us, Allison, you've spent 3 decades in technology, and over the past 5 years, specifically focused on cybersecurity. So you are clearly an expert. But what inspired you to create Cybersecurity Chic, and why did you decide to focus on the human side of cybersecurity?
Sure. Like you mentioned, I've been in technology a very long time. A little bit of a dinosaur, if you think, almost 30 years, 28 years in the business. And
was that when we were hearing like, yeah, for your fax
pretty much,
machine?
Yeah, exactly. And back in 2019, and why I started my business was I actually personally went through a cybercrime. I was out of work for the first time, going through a life transition, and I had one of my daughters very sick. So I had 3 core elements that had me distracted. And I had all the technology you can imagine being in the high-tech world, password managers to security, firewalls, even stuff that locked my credit, right, at the time. And what I learned through my personal cybercrime is 95% of crimes are human-related. They have nothing to do about technology, meaning they may get to you through technology, whether they text you, email you, get you on the phone. However, the tactics are more psychological based versus technical based. And I learned a lot through my personal experience that I started my company a little bit over almost about 2 years now, building education and content to help everyone out there from a community level. I'm starting early with my first book around single moms because I was going through a divorce at the time. I was single. And from there, I'm going to continue developing content to help others.
Well, and really helping others, you think of nurses and teachers, but in today's world, helping others keep themselves safe, it's one of those things where in the old days you were worried about walking around Boston that somebody could attack you. No, now you're just in your own home and you can be quote unquote attacked. And that is so scary. And I'll share a story in a minute about what happened with my mom. And if I only had you there ahead of time, you would have stopped her. It would have been but they hit her on the psychology piece and the urgency piece of whatever it is you have to do now. And we're going to talk about tips and tricks throughout the program of keeping yourself and your family and all of your assets and what have you safe. But there's a word that some people may know, and that is the word firewall. But when I think of firewall, I think of my computer. My computer has a firewall to prevent some of these cyber attacks. But you talk about building a human firewall. So what does that mean, and why is building a human firewall so important today?
Well, we all have devices in our hands every day, our phones, right? Whether we work in a field where a computer is required of you, the challenge is we're not slowing down enough to pick up on the signals of these criminals. So for me, the human element and training people to really be aware, conscious of what's going on, and understand the 4 basic tactics to avoid having someone take your personal information or your financials, worst case scenario. And also, I believe from a human perspective, the more you're aware, you can help teach others. Mm-hmm. Everyone has personal experience with a scammer calling through or texting. As simple as like the mass, tolls, right? That was a scam over the last, 12 months, like fake, text messages saying to pay a bill from a non-legit, phone number. So,
and in fact, the other thing that creates, because I got that a lot from California tolls, which also got scammed, and I visit California a lot where my family lives. And then I didn't want to really pay when they were legitimate because I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. And what I'd like to share with people, because we're all busy and working full time, raising 2 kids, and being a single mom, I'm multitasking every day through many things. However, when I went through my crime, so I'll give a little bit around that. I was out of work for the first time. So I was looking for work, and a professional business site got breached. I had no idea. 2 years prior to my scam in 2019. And what happened was I was looking for work. They were connected to people I knew, so they looked legit. Their website looked legit. However, they were giving me things to do from an onboarding perspective that were out of the norm. So one of the things I like to share with people is when you feel something's off, most likely is, right? And I had multiple red flags. I was in such a rush to get back to work and get through my life transition. I ignored the flags. I even shared it with my sister. I have a twin sister. And she's like, it sounds like a scam. I'm like, no, not at all. And it was a false job recruitment, which I had never heard of ever at that point. And I was required to purchase equipment and ship it all over the world, right? And what they know about me was what they saw on the public site was I had a long career in technology. I also, they could tell from the types of roles I had. I probably had good credit availability, which I did, and I still do, because I protect my credit.
Of course.
And what happened was so what they'll do first is they'll mirror you and make you feel comfortable with them. They want to move you through the process quickly, and they'll echo back your own words in a different way back to you so you're more comfortable. And then when you start questioning, they will turn it on you. So you feel guilty for asking legitimate questions. So when I was going through the recruitment process, I said, could we get on a video? So they sent me a link that I clicked on, thinking it was legit. I think it was Zoom or Teams, I can't remember. But they wouldn't turn their camera on. That's a flag. Right. I've never interviewed or worked for anyone who wouldn't turn their camera on. And then the last piece is when I didn't want to do something, they actually get a little bit aggressive and make you feel bad for kind of having healthy boundaries. And then last thing is you complete it on yourself. you create your own crime by getting, and it moved very quickly. In 30 days, I was out $30,000.
Oh my gosh.
And non-recoverable because I purchased the equipment on my credit card. I authorized it. So I learned a lot through that process. And for anyone out there who has assets, whether you rent or own a home, I always tell people cyber insurance, $25 a year. Maybe it's higher.
Didn't even know that existed.
No, I could have covered half of that. And I thought I had it on my homeowner's policy. And I do know there's renter's insurance now that offers that same level of protection. So for such a little fee, I could have covered half my loss.
So you can get cyber insurance maybe through whoever is selling you your homeowner's insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Had no idea.
Yeah. And then there's some insurance companies that don't offer it. I would look at the ones that do.
Makes sense. Well, I'll go into the story about my mom now and what happened to her because, again, if she had cyber insurance, it would have helped. You know, my mom's in her 80s. She doesn't usually fall for this kind of thing, but she fell deep. It was the gift card scam. Yep. They convinced her to go to Home Depot, to Ulta, and a bunch of other places and buy gift cards and send them to this false company because she clicked on a link and they said, oh, you've got a problem with your Apple computer. And why would she make that connection to send gift cards because she, quote unquote, had a problem with her Apple? The only way that I can think of, and you're the expert, and again, we are here with Allison Cutts of Cyber Security Chic, is they just got her so flustered that, you have to do this now because your computer's compromised, and they just played off of the human firewall that she did not have.
Yeah, and listen, their tactic is to go as quick as possible so that you start second guessing yourself. And that's what I went through. I mean, mine was over 30 days. However, I had plenty of red flags across that. And I kept going back saying, no, this can't be real. This can't be a false job recruitment. And it was. Like in 30 days, all the money gone. I shipped equipment. And they were asking for me to ship equipment, unlocked phones and computers all over, like California, outside of the country. Who knows who I funded from that purchase perspective. But what I like to tell people, number one, give yourself grace. Tell your mom, give yourself grace. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is pausing. They're not sharing a lot of information.
Right.
So even though they said she clicked on a link, pausing, taking like even a 4 to 6 second breath, calm the nervous system down, and then don't share much, and then say, okay, I'll call you back. And then you go to you verify the main source. You don't ever, even if you click on a link on your computer, I had that same Apple scam where I clicked on a website looking for a company and it brought up a false site. And it said, if you shut down, you lose all your data. So I literally closed my computer, called Apple directly, and it was a scam. It was a complete scam.
That's the thing, is to call the source.
The source. Always call the source,
right.
Verify. And then you just have to repeat it over and over. It's like, you know, like the 80s, they like rinse, repeat, whatever.
Right.
So it's really just slowing down and building those skills. Because I think a lot of us have lost some of that. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and we had physical things that we knew were safe or unsafe. So we knew how to run to a telephone booth if we're in a bad section of town. We knew what streets had, what ones go down, which ones not. And I think we've lost a lot of our social awareness around us because we're all living in more of a digital world. So those healthy boundaries we trust more than we should. Where before we would say, oh, that's a bad street, I'm not going to go down that. Or I know where the police station is, I know how to get there by going down these roads. Like all that goes away in the digital world. So it's really building awareness, slowing down, and telling people it's okay. These are going to come at us more and more. So since my cybercrime in 2019, I've been scammed multiple times, like trying to get scammed on.
Trying.
So once our information's out in the digital world, it's out there. It's like, I always share with people, when you're on social media, what you put out there is what, just pretend you're like the president of the United States. Do you want the world to see what you're doing?
Right.
Or share everything, like going on vacation. People post why they're on vacation.
I never do that. I wait till I get home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Otherwise, you might as well advertise, hey, guys, my house is
free.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that happened back in early 2000. I lived in the Worcester area of Massachusetts, and I was in a Pilates group with my mother-in-law at the time, and the Pilates instructor's son was in the Little League World Series, and they were all posting on Facebook at the time. It might have been MySpace at the time, but it was Facebook. No, MySpace was another competitor. But basically, they were posting their location. When they all got back, every single house was robbed in the vicinity because they knew nobody was home.
Right.
And the other thing you have to be careful of is if you're out and posting everything and in your whereabouts of like, I'm eating at this restaurant, if you have a stalker, they're going to know exactly where you are.
Right.
I mean, I'm not trying to scare your audience.
No.
But those are things people don't think of.
Yeah.
When they're having fun. It's like you said, post when you get back.
Right.
Had a lovely dinner with my friend, if you want to
Nobody
share that.
cares whether it was yesterday or not.
No. Or what you ate.
Right, exactly. So we're going to head to a break. But before we do that, I want to make sure that people know quickly why they should call you and where to find you, whether it's the phone or digital assets or what have you. Why in just a quick minute, and then we could get into it more. But
Sure.
When do you call? And again, we're here with Allison Cutts of Cyber Security Chic right here in Massachusetts. Why should they contact you?
So twofold. One, I am trying to build out in the community's education. So anyone looking to help a group of individuals, like we talked about the senior center, women's groups, anyone who would like me to come in and speak and share the knowledge, I'm very open to that. Secondly, I do have a book I just launched called The Human Firewall. And it's my first book is for single moms. However, the content in the book can be related to any family, but I'm going to come out with a series of books. So if they want to go to my website, they can see it there. It's on Amazon. So my website is www.cybersecuritychic.com. And for those who like the word chick, you can say chick.com. So cybersecuritychic.com as well.
But it's without the K, right?
It's no K.
Right. So CYBER, right?
Security.
Cyber Security Chic, CHICK.com. So we're going to hear more about the Human Firewall, what you can do to protect yourself, tips and tricks, and if you do need help, where to find you in just a minute. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more expert insights on WATD.
South Shore Connections is your go-to source for all the happenings in your town. When you want to know what's going on in your community, hear it straight from the people who know. With monthly messages from the schools, the library, the senior center, the rec department, and more, the Neighbors magazines and South Shore Connections keep you up to date on all the latest in town, focusing on positive, inspiring stories about residents and businesses in the Duxbury, Marshfield, and Norwell communities. If you're a local business owner, consider partnering with South Shore Connections. When you do, you gain access to an unmatched multi-platform network with print and digital, in-person networking groups featuring organizations across the South Shore, and our talk show, Expert Insights, airing on 95.9 WATD on Sunday mornings. Follow South Shore Connections on social media or visit our website, southshoreconnections.com, to learn how we connect local businesses to residents on the South Shore. To get your community magazine today, visit southshoreconnections.com. Hey business owners, do you want an opportunity to grow your brand on the South Shore? If you'd like to be a guest on the Expert Insight Show, which runs on WATD and also becomes your own personal podcast, reach out to us at southshoreconnections.com and fill out the form to learn more.
Back to Expert Insights and your host, Deb Keating.
Welcome back to the Expert Insight Show, where today we are with Allison Cutts of Cyber Security Chic. And we are learning all about the importance of protecting yourself in today's digital world especially, but particularly with cybersecurity. And what can we do in our own world to make sure we're protected? For starters, you can get in touch with Allison to learn how Allison can help protect you. And we're going to tap into that in a minute as to where you can find her. But I want to talk about some things that the listeners would definitely like to hear about in terms of tips and tricks. But I know where you're offering some of your tips and tricks are in a new book that you're writing. And I want to give you some kudos because I had no idea with the several times that I've talked to you, I didn't know until the break that you have a background with Harvard as well, giving you some of these tips and tricks as part of your education experience. So people out there, this is the real deal. Allison really is the expert that we have on the Expert Insight Show. Tell us about the book. What's it about? Where can they find it? That type of thing.
Sure. Well, thank you for mentioning my education. After my crime, I felt I had to learn more. Being in technology, I was in the healthcare field for many years. I had all the training around how to avoid scams, but not the psychology component. So I went back to school. I took a cybersecurity governance course at Harvard, which I absolutely loved, and with the mission to learn so that I could share with others in the future. Now, I took that course 2 years after, because when I did have my crime, all my credit was locked down for 2 full years. So I lived paycheck to paycheck off a debit card for the first time in my entire life.
Probably couldn't even pay for the class at that point, right?
By the time I hit 2 years, yes.
Then
I
had
had credit card availability again. And I had an amazing credit score. And it's, like I said, for the listeners out there, this happens to many people every day. Cyber crimes are the third largest industry in the world.
Wow.
So if you take that into consideration, and I'm sure many of you listening can reflect back on a scam, even if you dodged it, you knew it was coming.
Right.
And even if you didn't think it was coming, it still came, whether you did all the right things or not. So like I talked about earlier, being patient with yourself, pausing, and really verifying are crucial. One of the things I did after my crime was I pulled a lot of my information offline. So there's services that can actually delete a lot of your information off of the World Wide Web. So like I had a service, I still use it to this day, called Delete Me. So there's some resources within the book. I list a bunch of things you can do at a personal level in the book. But that was really helpful for me because I was scammed. And then there's sites you can verify if your information's been breached. And there's one that I don't know off the top of my head right now as I'm speaking, but it's in the book as well. But you can see where you've been breached. So what I tell people to do, when you know where you've been breached, lock it down even tighter or get rid of the account if you don't use it anymore.
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second because the fact that you couldn't remember it off the top of your head is actually a good thing, because the reality is we want people who are listening to this show who need help to contact you, and you can help them either with your book or by having them work directly with you. So we might as well hear right now, how do they reach you?
So they can reach me. I'm on a couple of social media sites. I'm on LinkedIn professionally under Allison Cutts.
And it's Allison, right?
Yes.
Cutts.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they might see me because I have my security settings high.
Of course.
So I will probably pop up as Allison C.
Okay.
Not my full name, but I am on LinkedIn and I do accept requests. I have to look at them very closely though, because I get a lot of scams through LinkedIn as well.
Right. You have to practice what you preach.
Yeah. And what I like to share with people who are on these social media sites, if anyone says click on a link, do not. Like I get reached out all the time on LinkedIn. They want me to schedule a meeting with them. So my response back to them is, if you want to meet with me, send me your date and time and I'll send you my link. So I reverse it. So learning how to reverse, then they don't ever come back through the feed. They'll come back as somebody else. The other site, social media site, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's under Allison, Allison, brackets, AJ, Cutts, Cutts. So I'm on social media. And AJ is a nickname. I originally was going to come out with a pen name because the crime was a big psychological hit for me. And I consulted a lot of the engineers I went to school with when I got the education. And they're like, they already have your information, Allison. Just go out with your name. So I had already started branding myself as AJ. So you'll see me on Facebook as Allison AJ Cutts.
Okay, that's good to know because, again, Allison is right here on the South Shore. So one of the ways that you can trust Allison is to come meet her in person. And that's what is so nice about doing this show with local experts. So what's the name of your book again?
So it's called The Human Firewall, and it's on Amazon. And the first one's The Single Mom's Guide to Cybersecurity. And how I structured the book, my mom's a teacher or was a teacher, and I think I have a little bit of her in me. But I have a workbook that goes with it. And I know people might think that's cheesy, but it's not.
No.
When you're learning complex stuff, and the stuff is written in basic terms, because
Right.
I'm not an engineer. I wouldn't expect someone who's not in technology to understand everything. So I write it from a very simple, understandable way. But I have steps and then a workbook that matches each chapter. Because it's like anything, it's repetition.
Right, and writing it down.
Write it
and
down, imprints
that also
better.
probably makes you not do some of the things so spontaneously that they get you for, as you've written it down.
Yeah.
So you can get that book on Amazon.
Yep.
We have a few minutes left. I want to talk about some of the biggest risks, cyber risks that you're seeing that are affecting families and also small businesses, because a lot of the audience out there has a small business and they definitely have to protect themselves. So just in a couple quick minutes, share that.
The top ones are the ones we all know, the phishing emails, the texts, or the smishing, they call it. It's like smishing text messages are very common. Gift cards, if people use Venmo, there's a Venmo scam out there as well, where someone will say that they'll put money in your account and then say they made a mistake, could you send it back? And they're trading false money off of your money.
Oh, boy.
So people, when my rule of thumb, besides pausing, if you're not looking for it, don't respond. You can delete, not respond. If you do end up in a conversation, the pausing, verifying, going back to the main source, and
Contacting someone like Allison.
yeah, contacting someone like me. And, for small business owners, and, I've been in technology a long time, they typically will rely on outsourced IT vendors. So my role in that situation is to help, it's more teach the human condition side of education, because we all go through cybersecurity training and just click through. So it's more of teaching the employees and building the culture around their operational business flow so that their employees are empowered.
So let me interrupt you for 1 second. So what you're saying there, and we only have a minute left, but what you're saying is that you are available for speaking engagements to businesses as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great.
And even at a community level, for like we talked about the senior center, any women's group, male group, I look at the more education I can get out there, I can help many. The other thing I recommend on a personal level is, besides the pausing and verifying, is secure your assets. Make sure you have two-factor authentication, multi-factor on all your devices or applications. Delete applications you don't use readily. Also, what I also recommend is reduce your digital footprint. If it's not something you need to share, don't share it. Share it with your intimate friends and family. Close your networks. If you don't know someone you're connecting to, you're going to open up. And just building healthy practices around your online behavior. And then for families and kids, my kids know this because they've been ingrained by both myself and their father. They have to be safe online as well. So sharing that knowledge, even if the kids do the eye roll, which is very common, or like your mom, she might roll her eyes. You don't see it out in California, but really just educating your family, making sure everyone's on it. And the scammers want to rush you, but also tell you not to share it with somebody. So share it with a friend, a family member, a trusted source.
Or share it with Allison Cutts, who we are wrapping up our conversation with today from Cyber Security Chic. Thank you, Allison, for being with us here today. We're going to hear from you again, and we're going to be talking about you a lot because we are so grateful that you have become this quarter's sponsor of the Expert Insight Show. So thank you, Allison, Cyber Security Chic.
Thank you, Deb. I really enjoyed today. And everyone, be out there safe, protect yourselves and your family, and share this along with your neighborhood. It's important.